from a sustainability perspective, I think the simplest test is to live within our ecological footprint. So if we think about the amount of land it takes to provide for our food, building materials, basic commodities, it's about 4 acres available. It's about 20 acres being used in the US. So we're 5 planet Earths right now in the US. It's not possible to maintain the kind of natural capital that we need and continue living in high levels of sprawl, high levels of energy consumption. So how do we make density attractive? That's sort of the basic corollary of saying you need to live within the footprint. The solution is not to sprawl out into rural areas. We need to make living in the Bay Area for a long time and then living in Portland. I was really attracted to what Paulo Soleri calls the density effect, that there is this intensity of human interaction, communication, creativity that can occur only at a certain density, not at a certain number of people, a certain density. And his model was the Italian hill town. Hill towns are incredibly livable and incredibly dense. They're approaching Manhattan level density, some of them, and yet they're completely walkable. They're filled with public gathering spaces. So how do we have that density effect in a place like Portland? And it's all around creating new ways for people to interact and gradually doing infill. Actually increasing the density is something desperately needed. In a place like Portland, we're not as dense as we should be. We're chipping away at farmland around the city. Earth is the building material of choice for 1/3 of the planet. It's alive. It purifies toxins. It is of the place. It has incredibly low embodied energy. It's probably the best building material from a sustainability perspective. It's something that children can do. But it passes the acid test if you do life cycle analysis on Earth materials. If you just look at all of the energy, water, materials impacts over the entire life cycle, Earth wins, hands down. There are challenges to building higher with Earth, although we know there are traditional Earth villages that are going up 7, 8, 9 stories. But it would be wonderful to think about the engineering innovations required to go up 3, 4, 5 stories. It's very important that those of us in the sustainability movement can recognize the trade-offs, that we do need a certain level of density to make it through this transition. And that means cities need to thrive, and we don't need to go up 100 stories, but if we could go up even 3 stories or 4 stories, a lot of studies now are showing that's about the critical point where if you have people, say, sharing 3 to 4 story attached townhouses, that's a density that will let you hit the